Welcome to part 5 of building an insane asylum roller coaster in Planet Coaster. And in this episode I finish off, as you can see now, the bridge for the building, and underneath I'm going to put some water. I had the suggestion of putting fire down there, and I really like that idea, but unfortunately I cannot do that because I'm pretty sure my frame rate will be destroyed by that very act alone. As much as I would like that, I really wish they had some giant special effect fires, really large areas, so the frame rate stays sort of stable. It's not very cool to spam like 20 different fire special effects, especially if you've never seen it before. You can check out my special effects update of my Haunted House Dark ride, and there's one point which is like a sea of fire, and it slows it down so much, so that is the reason I'm not going for that, as much as I think that would be pretty cool. If there was real water, there would be water down there. I'm making do with the little tile square for now, but I'm sure once water is added it would actually work very well. What else is happening in this episode? Well, in this episode basically I'm finishing off the facade of the building, and then I start working on the interior of the building. So it gets very complicated and very stressful when I'm doing the interior, but at the end of the day I really like the way it worked out in the end. Another thing I have to think about is that little bridge of that queue area, not queue area, that pathway along the left of the building. I'm wondering what I should do with that. I'm thinking of maybe making some sort of gardens or something like that, a little restaurant area, or a little graveyard. I don't know, I have to think of what will go there. What am I doing now? I am making a chimney, which I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. I'm a bit more confident with these aspects of the game. I didn't put any smoke in it yet, but that will be coming in all due time. And what else am I working on? Just the interior was actually quite complicated to make, and it doesn't really reflect the exterior at all, which is fine, I guess. I do that quite a lot with my buildings because no one's going to notice, and at theme parks these buildings tend to not be made like real buildings. They tend to have a different interior to the exterior. A good example of that would be probably the Haunted Mansion, which doesn't, this is way too big, the hallway, to fit into such a building. And that's what I'm going for now. So you come into the building, and to go to the toilets you go through this beautiful hallway with columns and this kind of thing. It has a bit of a different atmosphere and very dark and foreboding and epic, and some doors everywhere and corridors everywhere. I'm trying to make it look like a school or a prison or something like that. I'm about to start working on the 80s part, which will just be little 80s boxes that you get, extensions, nothing so interesting, just with beds and maybe electricity pylons and this kind of thing for electric shock therapy, something like that. But it's still in the conceptual part because I'm still finishing off this building, and it's coming along quite nicely. I expect the points where I'm starting to work on the actual roller coaster, I won't be spending as much time on it, and it will be more just sort of keeping all of the terrain intact and making it look as realistic as possible. Of course, there'll be lots of areas inside the roller coaster that has lots of effects and lighting. And I just saw a video today on Planet Coaster on Facebook, on their Facebook page, that they are releasing lighting that will work during the daytime, and that is going to be pretty sweet because it makes these sort of dark ride type rides work better, and also have a point for all of the spamming of the lighting in the daytime, which I am excited for. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they'll bring up within the next alpha or the beta or whatever it's going to be. I'm just really looking forward to that because I'm looking forward to things like water, I'm looking forward to more rides, and I'm looking forward to more shops, because I think we should have had some more shops in Alpha 2. But it doesn't really matter too much. I'm just being very, very impatient because I'm well aware that this game is not released yet, but I really am looking forward to having the full set of everything to work around with. Because sometimes when they release new stuff, I wanted to have used that stuff in one of my previous builds, and there's not a lot of ways to re-enter that. There's not a lot of good ways to re-enter that. Once you've finished the videos and once you've finished the builds, you don't really want to think about it again. But it's really like something that I'm looking forward to, playing around with all the things and seeing what they come up with. I'm really like, it's just the pirate theme so far. I really want to see their fantasy themes, and I want to see more stuff. So as you can see now, I am making the the riverbed that goes underneath it. It doesn't look so great because of the tiles. I'm so sick of those blue tiles. But it's gonna look better once real water is replacing that. I might put some waterfalls in there, just to give it a nice bit of realistic look. I just don't want it to ruin the frame rate too much. That's what I'm trying to go for with this build. It's to see how much object intersection I can get away with before, and special effects I can get away with before the frame rate is just destroyed. This is probably not a problem so much as once the game is released, I think they can make it a lot better and run better and etc. But like at the moment, I'm just a bit scared. But that's pretty much all I can talk about during this episode. I think I've run through more or less everything, and I will see you in the next part where it will be the continuation of the inside entranceway, finishing off the main building and closing it up, and adding some extra parts which are like 1980s extensions with some beds, and seeing if I can incorporate any sort of interesting elements into the queue area, which is basically the queue area is the building. The roller coaster is underground, and I think I've explained this before, but it's going to be more underground and like death tunnels and catacombs and this and that and hell. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm getting to there, and of course my ideas change quite a lot when I'm working on them. I mean, not everything I've explained here might stay. It might be something different. Who knows? Who knows? But I will see you in part 6. Bye for now. Wow, you must be awesome because you watched all the video, and if you want to see more, click in one of these boxes, and if you want to subscribe, do that, and I'll see you soon!